What's up, everybody? It's Corey from Lion Dads, back with another video for you. I got asked a really interesting question the other day. I thought it was a really good one, and I thought it justified an entire asked video about it. So the question I got asked is, what was the single hardest thing for me to give up when I went to a carnivore diet, right? And so I actually took some time to think about it. What was the thing I missed the most? What was the thing that I missed, just overall the hardest thing to give up? It was kind of it didn't take me long. It was pretty much right there in front of my face. Yeah. So thinking about it, the answer was beer. I was a beer fanatic before I got on a carnivore diet. I was a craft beer fanatic. I was a beer snob. I was a beer expert. I brewed beer. Every time I traveled anywhere, I had to hit like 3 different breweries. I drive by them now up here in Chicago visiting my kid, and I see them all over. I'm like, damn. I still think about it. You know what I mean? Not like to the level of I was an alcoholic or anything like that. It was really easy to just not drink beer for me. But I love the craft of it. I love what goes into it. I love how the things work. You kind of feel like a bottom of the barrel type scientist when you're figuring out creating your own recipes and things like that, which is what I was into. And I just loved the taste of it. I loved all the different styles. I loved how different beer would taste different from this yeast and all this kind of thing. Like I could sit here and talk to you about beer I could make a 5-hour video right now if I switched the topic to just talking about beer. Like that was probably the single hardest thing. When I would have a cheat type of a day early on, I don't really do those anymore. It's a thing that I've just kind of grown out of, and they're not an important part of my life because I don't view food even in the same way that I did when I started this channel and coaching business, a couple of years back. I don't even view food the same way now that I did then, like where I, maybe would sneak something in once in a while, if I'm being honest with you. But the one thing that I would always go back to was beer. I would find a way to, like, it's a Saturday or whatever, and I would, I'd sneak one in. There's other like carnivore type influencers out there, YouTube creators, whatever, and they preach like a carnivore diet being 70% animal based, and then you can kind of have whatever you want filling around that as long as you're 70%. I know a lot of people have success following that, and that's fine. I don't do that. I just kind of find it easy to go off the rails if I kind of do it that way, or the foods that I am having in that 30% are always typically, sometimes you just find ways for it not be all that optimal. So that's not something that I preach or teach or follow or recommend, but other coaches and other people do. And that would be the thing that would find its way back into my diet probably almost immediately if I went to something like that. And I know without any certainty that I'm better off without it, that I'm a better version of myself without it. That doesn't change the fact that I loved it, still love it, still, still would, think about it. I've got my favorite styles. I've got my favorite brands. If I'm going out buying one, I've got my favorite breweries. I still know, what they are and stuff, but it's just something that I have gotten away from. And that was like, you could almost identify me. Like, what's Corey like in real life? He's a beer guy. That's probably how all my friends and shit would have identified me or like talked about me. If like I wasn't there in the room and you had a few people closest to me, and the conversation was just, we're talking about Corey today, that's probably what would get talked about for at least half of it. Probably more than like my wife and kids and the fact that I love sports and other activities and things like that. Like the beer thing would probably get talked about constantly. And that's a problem. You know what I mean? I look at that, I look back on that. I'm not like proud of that. You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh, those are the good old days. You know what I mean? That doesn't change the fact that I love the taste and smell and process of beer and the culture around it and stuff like that. It's fun. It's good times. It really is. But it's not helping me get to where I want to be. You know what I mean? It's not helping me, be the best version of myself that I can be. The guy who can keep up with his now 3-year-old daughter and 21-year-old kid, and showing him how to navigate adulthood, and then my 19-year-old who's up here in college, and trying to balance being a college athlete with being a student, and trying to get them successful and get them to where they don't have to worry about me, because I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm not going to be in a nursing home when I'm 85 years old. People are going to still be trying to keep up with me. Like, that's my goal. My goal is to be an old man and not having to worry about keeping up with people. It's them keeping up with me. That's my goal in life, and that's my goal for other men in my life. You know what I mean? That's why I do what I do. And beer wasn't getting me there. Beer got me to 290 pounds. That's what beer got me to. Because I would change my diet. I would go, count calories, high protein, low cal, all this kind of stuff. The beer never changed. The beer was always there. That was the one thing that I had a vice grip on in my hand, was alcohol. And it's not even alcohol. Like, I don't drink whiskey. I'm not I've had whiskey and it's getting fine. Burns like a son of a bitch, whatever. It's good. You know what I mean? That's a good feeling. But I'm not a fanatic over it. I'm not a, tequila guy. I'm not I've drank them, they've been fine. But I've never been a hard liquor guy. It's always been beer. I just love drinking beer. I love the pairing of beer with food. And I love beer. I can go on all day. I told you I can go on all day about beer and why I loved it. You know what I mean? Loved it. But it just doesn't get me where I want to go. It's just not getting me to that version of myself that I see that I want to be when I'm 80. And I'm 80, 90. Who knows how long we'll be living by then with the advancements in medical technology. As I saw a crazy video the other day that they're expecting in like 5 years that they can expand the human lifespan by like another 30, 40 years or something like that. And I don't know how true that is. I'm not in that field. Sounds nuts, sounds bonkers, but hey, I'm in. If you can get me there, dude, I want to hang around as long as I can. I'm in. You know what I mean? And I've just seen too many people get old and degrade and waste away and not care. And, and I did a lot of damage to myself with it. That's really, really the reality of it. It's not, beer ain't healthy for you. Don't let them tell you about the benefits of, oh yeah, 1 beer a day for your heart and all that. Yeah, 1 beer a day for getting fat, for your pants to not fit. That was my experience with beer. Was it made me fatter than shit. It did. I was fat, and it's taken me, I haven't reversed all the damage yet. It's been 5 years. I'm not where I want to be. Like, believe me, I've still got a long way to go. I am not a finished product here. I'm not my optimized self yet. I don't think I ever will be. I have a goal. I have an aspiration, like I've told you guys, that to what I want to be someday when I'm old and stuff like that. But I did, I've been drinking beer since I was in high school. You know what I mean? Don't tell the cops, from 1999. But, like, that's 20 some years of damage, that I did myself. And, it's been 5 years on a carnivore diet, that I've been fairly strict, probably now, 2.5 that I've been super strict. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage, and you're not gonna reverse it overnight. You know what I mean? So it's something that it's a part of my lifestyle that I'm still paying for, but it was the one thing that definitely was the hardest for me to give up on. I loved it so much. It was a huge part. It was a part of my personality. It was how I socialized. It was a hobby of mine to brew it, all that stuff, and I was good at it. That's the other thing. Sometimes you find stuff you're good at in life. It's hard to give up on them. You know what I mean? Because for some of us, it's finding things we're really good at is few and far between for a lot of people. And so I found something I was good at, and people loved me for it. You know what I mean? They loved coming over and having beer with me because my beer was good. And then I, made friends that way, or kept friends around that way. I don't know. And that's for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff, that's not the right reason to want to bring people in your life. It's because you're good at making something that they can indulge in. You know what I mean? You want people to value you for you, right? So, I just think overall it's made my life more fulfilling, stronger, and healthier without it. But it was definitely tough to get rid of, to move on from. So that's going to do it for that video today, guys. As always, I got all my links and stuff down in the description. Hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, whatever. Let's do a mailbag, get enough comments going. You can find me on X and all that stuff. DMs are open. Hit me up. And, if you are interested in coaching, let me know. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Later.